The United States was far more different in the 1960s than it is today. People were questioning the unnecessary treatment the government was enacting on them. They wanted a change, they needed one, so they kept fighting for civil rights. But there was one person who stood out, one who penned a protest anthem and didn't fear the consequences. Rather than starting marches and politically changing the government, he influenced people around the world, millions of them, with the words he sang in the songs he composed. Yes, he was just a musician, but later these songs became extremely popular and were used in several protests around the country. The poet laureate of rock and roll, the Shakespeare of his generation, for his lyrics shook the government and the Americans to their bones, he's none other than Bob Dylan. In 1941, the prodigy was born as Robert Allen Zimmerman, later changing his name to Bob Dylan. At an early age, he became fascinated and influenced by musicians of that era such as Hank Williams, Johnny Ray, and Elvis Presley, to name a few. In the 1960s, Dylan moved to New York City, where his early performances were greatly influenced by Woody Guthrie, as he mentioned in his 2004 memoir. Bob Dylan's music inspired and influenced people fighting inequality and racial discrimination. His songs impacted the civil rights movement and were commonly used in marches and protests during the movement. Other songs he made altogether intensified the protest culture during the 1960s. He performed at various rallies and other events during the civil rights movement. Though he faced much criticism for his lyrics, his songs helped people fight for racial equality and social justice. Dylan's lyrics explicitly called out the inequalities, social injustice, and oppression by the government. To be specific, his lyrics were simple to understand and provoked people to think about their beliefs and take action. His most famous song, Blowing in the Wind, quickly became an anthem of the civil rights movement, yearning for an answer to how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see, that made the song timeless, universal, and personal.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history.
The day of August 28, 1963 is best remembered for Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Hundreds and thousands of people gathered and cheered when Bob Dylan sang his protest song Only a Pawn in Their Game from the same podium.
A bullet from the back of a bush took Medgar Evers' blood. A finger fired the trigger to his name. A handle hit out in the dark. The hand set the spark. Two eyes took the aim behind a man's brain. But he can't be blamed. He's only a pawn in their game.
Are you going to see the concert tonight? Are you going to hear it? Okay, you hear and see it, and it's going to happen fast, and you're not going to get it all, and you might even hear the wrong words.
The rise of protest songs was at its peak in the summer of 1965, when Dylan's anti-war sentiment emerged through his powerful lyrics, which not only profoundly impacted victims of the Vietnam War, but also united millions across race, class, and geographical boundaries. His most powerful anti-war anthem included Masters of War and A Hard Rains Are Gonna Fall. The impressive and straightforward lyrics of the song Masters of War took aim at the men of power and challenged the government. Truly bold lyrics made by someone who is fearless. The Americans, on the other hand, didn't let it slide. Their reaction was overwhelming. Some people liked the fact that Bob Dylan spilled out the truth about how ungrateful the leaders were, sitting behind desks while ordering soldiers to fight and protect, but some others thought the song was just generally too disrespectful. Can you count the number of people in these protests? 50,000 to 100,000 of them. Bob Dylan's music has been a powerful tool for social change. His songs advocated and gave a voice to people fighting for equal rights. Blowin' in the Wind, a familiar song we talked about, drew listeners into a narrative by asking logical questions everyone was too hesitant to say. Protesters spread his words, singing them on streets and rallies around the country like an anthem with pride. Through his strong melodies and lyrics, he united young adults and made them realize what was right and what was wrong. Dylan's songs overall became an anthem of a generation that wanted peace and change. In that same summer of 1965, Bob Dylan skyrocketed a level up and went full electric, like nobody thought would happen. Most fans loved it and wanted to see him try it out, but others were disappointed. His songs became more powerful, still maintaining its deep meaning.
What would you call your music?
I would call it, I like to think of it more in terms of vision music. It's mathematical music.
Dylan electrified the world with his two remarkable songs of the 20th century, The Times They Are Changing and Like a Rolling Stone. These songs significantly influenced Bob Dylan's followers and became the most favorite among pop audiences. The meaning behind The Times They Are Changing is to signify the need for change, and Like a Rolling Stone shows a fallen pride, the loss of fame and courage. Dylan's music not only impacted millions of people, but many of the music artists of those times were heavily influenced by his lyrics and craftsmanship. The Beatles, the Byrds, and Bruce Springsteen are a few among many musicians who applauded Dylan's music and adapted his style of genre and songwriting. Bob Dylan's journey made a lasting impact on generations through the powerful words he used in his music. His lyrics not only gave hope to people and advocated the civil rights movement, but also brought turbulence to the political system. His songs echoed the protests against war, reminding us that our longing for peace is just like it was during the zeitgeist of the 1960s.
These songs were like almost magically written. Darkness at the break of noon, shadows even the silver spoon, a handmade blade, a child's balloon. Try to sit down and write something like that. There's a magic to that